Exactly a year ago, I drew this. At least, that's what the file date says. This is Sap Girl, a character I designed based on the mimi-century trend that gained some real traction on the internet. I saw so many engineer building robot designs, but not a single Sapper one at the time, so I decided to throw my hat into the ring and draw one up. Similar to a lot of the engineer building designs, I took big design traits from the spy robots from MVM, making the building part more of an accessory. For example, the Sapper gauge on the midriff, adding the switches to the hips, and using the wire as a hair ribbon. I didn't do much with the design at first, making only the original design sketch, a character exploration piece demonstrating how the sapping works, a red tape recorder variant, and then a model reference sheet. It wasn't until the TF2 map 72-hour jam in September that I actually got around to modelling her, where I also gave her a better name than Sap Girl. Going with the theme the other building robots had with punny names, I was suggested Saprina by someone on Twitter. I thought the idea was so good, I yanked it for myself. I modelled, textured, and rigged her up all in 72 hours. I did update the mod a couple of times afterwards though. So, without any more dilly-dallying, let's go through the features. Saprina is a player model replacement for the Spy. The original plan was to make her replace the Sapper with unique animations for sapping each building. Something like stomping on a teleporter, or just chilling while draining a dispenser. Just as something silly to make up for the fact that you would otherwise be just holding her by the waist, which looks rather unfortunate. This is because I thought the Sapper used a unique model for each sapped building, which would give me more control over how it looks and animates. I technically would be correct, if I was making this mod prior to 2013, as an update in March of that year changed the Sapper to be a single model applied to all the buildings. It's handled similarly to cosmetics in that it merges to individual bones on the building's skeleton. As a result, you don't have much control over how the Sapper looks when sapping unless you want to re-rig and reanimate each individual building, which I didn't have time in the 72 hours to do, and I can't be bothered to do it now due to the tedium of doing so. So she's a spy player model mod instead. Much easier to do in the time limit and much easier to manage later on. She features jiggle bones for her ponytail and hair ribbon, and also face flexes. Face flexes are a bit rough, but that's because this is my first time making facial flexes. They're actually surprisingly easy to make for in-game models, mind you. It's all just shape keys and Blender.
I did all I could. Proceed! Doctor!
As with most player models I make, I obviously gave her custom view model arms, including for Spy's different PDA items. The invis watches, and for some reason the disguise kit, use the old view model format rather than having a C model and animations incorporated into the rest of the view model animations, so it takes a little longer to fix up the arm for those. One special cosmetic feature I added was a custom replacement for the voodoo cursed spy soul, giving Saprina the appearance of her red tape counterpart. Thinking her name should be Tabitha. I've done this sort of thing with other mods before, but I've never really explained it. So, the voodoo cursed souls work by setting the player model's skin to the one with the corresponding zombie texture. This texture has a bunch of transparent holes, which are filled in by an extra model attached like a regular cosmetic. When making custom player models, you can make parts of the zombie texture straight up invisible entirely to replace what they're wearing with something new that doesn't risk clipping with the original model. This is extremely powerful and it allows for some really cool customization that you can't do with normal cosmetics. It's like a body group toggle, but for the whole model, and doesn't require any extra material slots like with team dependent player models. So it can be used on Spy without having to cut corners like removing the unique mask textures to save on the material slots in the compiler. That's it for mod content so far. I'm considering making a third patch adding heads up display and other UI elements, as well as possibly fixing a face view cosmetics to not look weird, but apart from that, this mod is complete and has been for a fair while. If you want to play with the mod, simply download from Game Banana for the latest version, or the old TF2 maps for the buggy original version that was made in the 72-hour time period. There are also downloads for the model for posing purposes on both the Source Filmmaker and Gary's Mod workshops, and I do have Saprina set up with a Rigify rig in Blender that I used in the making of this video, which I might make downloadable too if the demand is there, I would now like to shout out those who have given Saprina love before this video's release, whether that be through just downloading and playing with the mod, making fan art of the character, or just otherwise voicing your appreciation for the design, because Saprina doesn't have the same level of reach as the other robot building anime characters, like Mimi Sentry, but to see that people do genuinely like her despite this is something I very much appreciate. Finally, if you've watched this far into the video, thank you for sticking around. I wanted to get this done a lot earlier, back when the TF2 Maps Jam Showcase blog post released, but I've been busy with other things, and also my sleep schedule's a mess, so, oops. Fortunately, in the meantime, my channel has been doing relatively okay, since I uploaded a few silly short clips in the first few months of this year, and I've still been doing other art and also mod commissions, so I haven't been entirely creatively dead in the absence of regular content on this channel. This is the part where I tell you to go follow me on those places too. I don't have any particular plans for future content, apart from maybe more deeper insights and commentary into the creative process of things I make like TF2 mods, and also maybe some other deep dives. And also maybe some deep dives into various TF2 cut content that has only been superficially covered by other people. If that sort of thing is what you like, perhaps subscribe for more like that. Finally, thank you for watching. Here's where I stick a random funny clip to add something to end the video with.
That fucking clip. Oh, I couldn't W that.
You fat sack of crap. I hate your type. You make me sick, fat sack of crap.
Why? Well, I'm sorry, Ninja. Were you just were you telepathically communicating with that guy? Did I interrupt something?
Yeah.
What was that?